But also, is this like a weird flex? Like you're like, I got 3.2 million in spending power.
So I had 3.2 million when I was, I think, 19 or 20. I have 30 million.
All right.
So
that's a shit ton of credit.
So,
yeah, 100%.
I'll tell you this in real life. Did you hear how he was stopped?
No.
Some guy took a
narwhal
narwhal
horn. Tusk.
Narwhal tusk
Yes.
off the shelf of a restaurant.
No
That's
way.
serious.
Yeah,
Yes.
and went to stop the stabber.
This is real.
Yeah.
Are you guys like tugging
I'm
the shot?
serious. A mix between Jeff.
Like he
I'm
just
serious.
smashed out a window and just like
I
grabbed
think
it
it was
off and
his,
just
no, it was the owner of his
was a
restaurant, and
chef.
he had a narwhal horn and a fire extinguisher. Another guy had a fire extinguisher, sprayed
They
the
double
dude while the
teamed
other
him.
dude stabbed him with a narwhal horn. And then the cops came through and they're like, "He's not done!" And pop, 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 blast him.
Really?
So he got narwhaled, fire extinguished, and shot.
bro, that's why you just don't do anything bad.
And ready for this?
Dude,
Ready
you
for
get
this?
narwhaled.
Ready for
Holy
this part?
shit.
He was in jail for 8 years because of his ISIS ties, and he's tried to start a terrorism camp. But in Britain, when you go to jail for terrorism, you don't just get you get let out after 8 years, and they're like, "Yeah, he'll be good."
Yeah,
fine.
he's chill. He's
good.
fine.
Yeah,
He's
chill.
he'll
Dude,
be
it was a
over
little
it.
terrorism
That was
camp,
8
big
years
deal.
ago.
Fuck you.
it.
They let him out, and he just went fucking on a rampage, bro. In America, they lock your ass up. They throw the key into the toilet. That
Facts.
toilet.
Facts.
Damn.
It doesn't flush.
Yeah, dude, I try to stay out of this
Fixed
stuff anymore. I feel like it's so common. I just don't even want that negativity in my dome.
It is
you know
so
what I'm saying?
common. I hate it.
It's weird.
Yeah,
It's
we're in a-
weird.
we're in a weird
I
place.
feel like
But dude, you'll get narwhaled. That's the
that's
moral of
true.
the story.
That's true. Should I open the show on that note?
Yeah, I feel like
I think
you can.
Oh, here we are.
Us
Impaulsive.
just talking
What?
about shows.
Let me know when you're done.
He seems done. He looks like it.
I'm not finished. Hold on. Okay, I'm done. Go.
I like that on his own terms.
I can't do this. I can't, bro. I can't do this.
You know what? Just do it, man. Come on. You got nothing to lose.
I just don't know if that.
I have no headphones. No fucking headphones. I looked down and nothing there.
Can we get headphones for our co-host Mike?
It's impossible, bro.
That's tricky.
Yeah, we've
Wait,
been having
wait.
technical difficulties all season.
You could use that. You could use the cord. Yeah.
Can you hear?
All right,
Does
I'm
it
good
work?
to go. Start it.
All right, guys. Welcome back to Impaulsive, the #1 podcast in the world. Thanks for listening, watching, but also viewing. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Today's episode is going to be another one that we're doing.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it's going
getting
to be
some
good.
feedback in these.
Yeah. I'm in a mood today. And I'll tell you why.
What's going on?
So I'm finally, after like 10 days of antibiotics and swish and swallow rinse, finally feeling better from this sickness. Yeah, and you know when that feeling when your sickness goes away and you're just like ready to go.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
girls over here cat sitting.
Cow sitting.
Cat,
We have neither of those animals.
they're
no
Simi,
cows or cats.
Simi and Olga are here cat sitting George's cat.
Oh, that's
And bro, they walked in, they're like, Logan, and instinctually I just started wrestling them, like throwing them around, and like I did a suplex on one, 2 points.
Nice.
Made up for the 2 points in the fight, which by the way, we're figuring out today if the appeal went through.
So during this show, we could figure that out.
Nope.
Technically.
Technically,
Yep.
I mean, he said by end of business, Andy Foster.
Wow.
Well, you know, so we'll see. Things are happening.
You feeling good? Like, I mean, how are you feeling? I mean, you're not sick, so.
About the appeal?
Yeah, do you
No,
feel-
I feel like that's a shot in the dark.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
just kind of like last minute, like Hail Marys.
Yeah.
You got like
Hail
44
Marys work, though.
defenders.
Sometimes it gets swatted around. Somebody
Sometimes.
grabs it, and you're like, "What the fuck? We
Yeah.
won."
And sometimes the quarterback gets tackled by throwing the Hail Mary
Yeah.
and pulls the ACL. And is out
Sometimes,
for the rest
yeah,
of his life.
sometimes your career's over, bro. Yeah, it could be bad.
But that's not going to happen. though.
Let's bring on the guest.
Wow.
No, he's a good guy.
Are we,
Yeah, he
can we
is.
just, we're rusty, would you say? Yeah. Or is rusty the word?
Nah.
No? We just got
think
back from
so.
this vacation. We're going to talk about it on episode The
Next.
Boys Only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it'll actually come out before this one, so you'll have already seen it.
Oh.
Well,
Just bring the fucking
all right, checking out his Instagram, you might think he's a Dan Bilzerian in training. After dropping out of the prestigious Stanford University, he's got more than 240 credit cards with a credit limit that exceeds $3.2 million.
What?
He's on a mission to change how the education system is deployed and help you with your finances along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Steven, a.k.a. @Credit on Instagram. Here he is.
Teach us the ways.
There we go. Get situated, get nice and comfy. Do you want me to call you Steven or do you want me to call you at credit? Or just credit?
Jat.
Are we friends? Like, my friends call me Steven.
Oh, okay. I'll call you Steven. I'll call you
There we
Steven.
go.
Jesus, mother of God. Can you show your wrist to the camera really quick?
Yeah, damn, bro. You got some
Dang,
ice.
twinkling.
I see probably $25,000 to $40,000 worth of Cartier on your right wrist. And is that what is that?
AP?
That's an AP, an iced out AP. Is it real?
Yes.
Steven, how you do this, man? Well, I mean, what's going on? Because you're an interesting character, and I actually DM'd you because I figured you could provide an immense amount of value, but also pure entertainment. Because I go on your Instagram, and so I start at the bottom. This is intentional. A lot of jets, Steven. A lot of the classics standing on the stairs of jets. And then I scroll up, and there, there's baby tigers, there's G-Wagons, starts to get a little more risque, more baby tigers, and then the women. The women, after they see the jets, I noticed along the timeline started coming in, and then the butts. This is the classic timeline of the successful
This
young
is the
man.
exact reverse order of my Instagram. I started on the butts and now I'm working towards the jets. Incredible.
So the butts and women.
What's going on in that left
This
one?
one's my favorite on your page.
Is that a stop and frisk? What in good God's name is happening there?
So Steven, you got what is this? Is that a Ferrari?
That's
It's a Lamborghini outside the Ritz-Carlton and two butts. How do I get a Lamborghini outside the Ritz-Carlton and two butts?
Give the valet guy like $20.
Is that your Lambo? Whose is it?
Oh, yeah. It's in Vegas now, but
Alright.
it's in LA.
I don't even know where to start with this.
Dude, Suki Dayu is not happy about this picture.
You use girls around you for pictures like this, you disgust me.
It's like at the end of the comment, she went down a water slide.
Well, I wanted to ask about this because you're a businessman.
Yep.
And your claim to fame, not claim to fame, you've become this like credit guru, this credit mogul. And I want to ask you about this, but also this lifestyle that you're now living, and if they do indeed go hand in hand.
So I do the lifestyle because guys like flock to it, right? Like you're never gonna just like look at some old guy behind a computer talking about accounting or credit cards. Like no one's gonna click on that. And my whole goal is to get people aware of credit, right? Like you never learn about credit cards in school. You never learn a lot of things in school.
Yep.
So when you see stuff like this, you're like, all right, this kid's like, short Asian kid, but how's he doing all this? And so it makes you like interested, and you clicked. You obviously clicked, or you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So it gives me a platform to actually like tell people about credit. Like I'll post probably like 2 or 3 times a month something different than like just the standard like girls and cars, which is like, oh, like, did you learn about how to file taxes in school? Did you learn about credit cards in school? Did you learn what to do if you get pulled over in school? Like all this crazy shit that you didn't learn. That's my ultimate goal, is to make people aware.
And I saw you do a lot of that on your story. Is that where most of the actual like extreme value comes in?
Yeah.
Because I saw one story just one day. I clicked through and it was like a very detailed breakdown of how to get like free flights.
Yeah.
Like a very detailed. If I had like 5 minutes, I totally would have read it. And also, I don't know. I get paid to go
If you
places.
could read,
But-
too,
and I can't read. But where did you learn everything you've learned about credit? Because you're telling me, and it's facts, that they just don't teach it in school. So how did you, as a young man, get this information?
So it's a mixture between Google and trial and error. And I truly 110% believe that if you want to learn anything, all you need is Google, trial and error, and a mentor. You don't need school to learn. Like I think school and education is 2 separate things. I think the school is trying to educate people, and education is like, I think most people on the day they exit 12th grade or the day they exit college is the last day they learn. It's the last day they learn, unless they get a job and then they learn on their job. But most people don't have a desire to learn, and that's what we should be teaching kids. So like I learned credit cards just by Googling. Like it started off with like, I took a flight on Frontier. My first flight I ever took in my life was when I was 18. I took a flight on Frontier. This girl, I have no idea who she is, like replied and was like, wow, you still fly economy. So like it hit me. I was like, oh.
Wow.
It was my first flight, so I was excited.
Should have been like, still, it's my first flight. What do you mean still? It's my first flight.
commercial
lady,
flight.
chill, chill out, dude. It's good.
So I was like, well, this is not cool. And like it was just like a little fire. Like sometimes like hate like makes you like want to
activates you.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try and get first class. So I was like, okay, you can get flights through like credit card.
Oh, wait, are
reward
you
points.
one of the guys that signed up for the platinum
He's a
rewards
points
program?
guy.
Oh no.
Points guy.
So when the flight attendant comes on, by the way, and I'm like hungover mid nap when I first got on my flight back to LA from Hawaii, and she's like, "Welcome, join our platinum rewards program. All you need to do is sign. You're that kid. You signed up."
Well, I signed up for all of the rewards, and so how it started was you apply for like a credit card, right? And there's like spend $3,000 and you get 100,000 points, or like get 50,000 points. Those points convert to a lot of like flights, but most people aren't going to spend 5 grand. So what I did was I did something called manufactured spending to get me off the ground. So what you do, or normal people, right? They spend $3,000 on groceries. Maybe they buy a TV, but I'm not going to buy like 200 TVs for $3,000 to get all those minimum spends. So you'll go to like the grocery store and buy a cash equivalent, like a Visa gift card. You buy the Visa gift card, take the $500, and then you recycle it. You put it into a Western Union and you buy a money order, and you use the money order to pay off your credit card. So you meet the minimum spend.
Wow.
And then you get all the points, but you technically never spent the $3,000. All you did.
Is there a possibility that there's a Visa or American Express like hit team that could come try to kill you for a result of your actions?
Amex has something called the RAT, like a rewards abuse team. So
Yeah.
they've tried, and like, you know, you appeal it, and then you.
I can just see you walking out of there and there's just like a red dot, dude. And I'm just like, yo, this dude is fucked over one too many credit issuers.
Is what you're doing like frowned upon? Like counting cards in a casino is frowned upon. It's not illegal, but
So yes, it's frowned upon like to like Amex and to Chase. It's a good way to start though. So like I did it, like this was when I got started. I'm not saying that everyone should go out and just, you know, apply for 200 credit cards. Initially, credit wasn't my goal. It was just to get on the plane, right? It was to prove this girl like, oh, you're flying economy Frontier. Well, here's a private jet. So like, you know, it's not Frontier anymore.
Here's 100 private jets.
Yeah.
I'm torn on this whole thing, and I want to hear more about it. I want to be converted, but like all the real wealthy people out there, they all say the same thing: never spend your own money. Always spend someone else's money as much as you can in life, right? And so I subscribe to that theory. I get it, but also, is this like a weird flex? Like you're like, I got 3.2 million in spending power.
So I had 3.2 million when I was, I think, 19 or 20. I have 30 million.
All right,
So
that's a shit ton of credit.
Yeah.
So that's like just building up.
But
And
what if somebody was like, wouldn't you rather have 30 million in like asset value?
So most people, like when they think of credit, right? Like what they teach you, or the little that they teach you in school, is like, oh, you spend money on credit and you pay it back. And the most common question I get asked is like, okay, so you have $30 million, you spend it, how are you gonna pay $30 million back? Well, most people, like, you'll hear people talking about like the stock market or what they get or returns on every year. Like you'll see like some scammers trying to sell you like, oh, you'll get 50% returns or like 100% returns, like double your money, which is crazy. And then you'll get people that are reasonable, like, oh, 10, 15, 20% returns.
This is stocks you're talking about, yeah?
Not just stocks, like any investment.
Okay, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so instead of using your credit to buy a Lambo and sit in your garage and depreciate, you know, 30,000 every year, you take that and you invest into real estate and it goes up. You invest into deal. Like I'm invested in an oil deal right now that gives me about 15, 20% a year. And my interest rate is 6%. So I'm arbitraging between that 6 and that 15%. That's 9% net every single year.
So you actually own real estate on credit lines right now,
And so it's basically like a mortgage.
a mortgage,
too, right?
but through who though? Who's
So-
the issuer?
What I like to do is like big banks offer small lines of credit. Small banks offer big lines of credit. So like
Okay.
they're like small credit unions. Like Tennessee has one. I work with one called Aloha Credit Union. They're all small credit unions, but the small ones want to like give you more money because they want your business. So like I'll find banks all across the country that's willing to issue some money.
I think you might be onto something, man. I think you really might
I'm
be
just
onto
trying to
something.
wrap my
Definitely.
brain around all of it. It would take me like a few minutes to fully understand.
At the
this,
end of the
but-
day, like I just don't like spending my own money. And it's the same, like another reason, like some people will be like, oh, all I need is my debit card. I don't need my credit card. So I'll give you the perfect example why you should not use a debit card ever unless you're withdrawing money. So you go to the store and use your debit card. It runs like a credit card transaction. Where does the money withdraw from? Withdraws from your bank, right? So if you have $1,000 in your bank and you spend $100 at the grocery store, now you have $900 in your bank. If you have a $1,000 credit line, you spend $100. Now you have $900 available credit, and then you have the option to pay back the $100, right? So say someone steals your credit card and someone steals your debit card. If someone steals your debit card and goes to a grocery store and spends $1,000 to buy a TV, and then someone takes your credit card and spends $1,000 to buy the TV, you're not responsible for either. You just call the credit card company and say like, hey, I didn't do this. And then they'll like investigate it. But the difference is, who are the banks going to prioritize their money on? They're going to prioritize their money, the credit card money, over your debit card because that's your money. The credit is money that you're borrowing from them, and neither option you have to pay back. But if you lose $1,000 from your debit card that's coming from your bank account, they're going to prioritize their own money that they issued to you first to try and recover over your debit card money.
So that
because now you have $0 in your bank account.
That seems like a reach. So basically, because in reality, that prioritization might equal like 3 days less of waiting for your money. Call it or a week.
Well,
right?
so like what I'm saying is that during that debit card money, you have $0 in your bank account. Some banks might give you some more, but during that time that your $1,000 is stolen, you have $0 in your bank account. Versus the time my credit card is stolen, I still have $1,000 in my bank account.
So
it's an analogy for principle, probably. Yeah.
But it also seems like the ideation and your theories apply more to the common man, to the everyday citizen than the person trying to build wealth on top of the wealth that they already have. Okay.
So
that makes sense.
How many credit cards do you have right now?
About 240.
Okay, and then you said you have a $30 million.
So I have a $30 million credit line.
Okay.
So not all of those are on credit cards. Some of them are just like lines of credit that I can withdraw cash on.
Okay. Is it confusing?
Very. I pay my account very well.
Really? Yeah.
It's a mixture. I have about 2 to 3 million. I don't know the exact number for personal credit, and the rest is all business credit. So business credit's like where you get into like the investments and stuff.
How thick is your wallet?
This is all the cards.
Oh, that's
carry.
it.
Because I have the black card and like
Well,
I have like the business black card.
I see
you got 6 black cards.
I have 3, and then I have this one. It's like
I see a Sapphire Preferred at the end, which is mine, by the way.
No, it's
sorry. No, I
It's City
lied
National.
completely to everyone.
The black cards, isn't that's like a sign of prestige? Oh my god!
goodness
Wow.
gracious.
That
Sounds
sounds
great.
expensive.
Almost
Can
broke the table.
I drop it?
Yeah.
What is it? This is at least 10 pounds worth of credit
That's a
cards.
weight right
These
there.
are all metal,
It sounds wonderful.
bruh.
This is bringing you so much joy.
Well, I've always wanted to do that, man. Yeah, what's the deal with the black cards? Because you hear rappers sing about or rap about them, and
So it's $5,000 annual fee for each of the cards,
Wow.
which is I pay that much for a piece of metal.
that's you
Well, you pay that much for 24-hour concierge service, dry cleaning, as well as hotel transfer shuttles from your favorite airports around the world. Sign up at AmericanExpress.com to learn more about the American Express Black Card. We protect your children. I don't know what their slogan is. Dude, honestly,
We protect your children.
to be honest with you, dude, I don't like any of this. I love that it's working for you. I love that it's working for you, but it seems fucking crazy, bro. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like-
See, I'm with you. I feel that way. But then at the same time, I look at our system and what you talk about with education. We're not taught this stuff. It feels
Right,
like
right, right.
it feels like you're kind of hacking the system that, in a sense, is hacking people.
Yeah, but just not being taught it seems like a weird reason to say that it's like they don't teach me that I could like jerk off standing on my head.
But you can.
I can. I'm not saying I should.
Why don't you do it right
Maybe
now?
I should too. Once again, like this
should.
is all it's like fucked up. But like
the sex
just because
expert recommended masturbating upside down.
She did.
Our
She
first
did.
guest on the
Episode
podcast.
one.
Yeah.
Upside down
Episode
masturbation. So maybe it's something to think about. I think you're right. I'm on the same page as you. I also agree with you, and I think if it's working for you, that's phenomenal. I would just. My fear is that the layman's type of person would go and get fucked because credit's scary.
Yeah,
absolutely.
In school, I learned like to stay away from credit, and then when I had a team who knew how to do it, I used it to my advantage to build my score, get points, rewards, everything.
Yeah, so you have a pretty good credit score, yeah? Or you have
Yeah.
pretty good credit.
But
we should
only because
we should
I
compare our scores right now.
it's probably similar to you, like 700 something.
Yeah, I have like 790.
Isn't that almost like maxed out?
850 is the max.
Okay.
And so like a lot of people think like, oh, you need a full 850 to have like the perfect credit score.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of factors. Like I don't think school needs to teach you how to get free flights or how to get like, 200 credit cards or 30 million. But I think they should at least teach you basic things. Like there's 6 factors of credit.
Absolutely.
One thing that a lot of people get confused on is like, oh, as long as I pay my credit card bill off at the end of every month, I'm good. And my score just keeps going up. Or as long as I don't check my credit report, it goes up. Which are both myths because if you don't check you can check your credit report and your score doesn't get hurt. And if you pay off your bills every month, your score might actually go down. So what happens is there's one of the factors is called credit utilization. So say if you have $1,000 credit line and you spend $900 on it and you pay off the $900 on time and everything, your score could still go down because if your total credit line's $1,000, you're utilizing 90%.
Yeah.
And 90% utilization is actually worse
Horrible.
for your score than if you miss the payment.
What?
Your utilization should be under 20%, right, at all times. I should mine at like 8%.
It should be at 0%
Right.
ideally,
Yeah.
and how you can keep it at 0% right now for like your viewers and everything, just pay it off as soon as you make the purchase. Like when I first started credit, I don't do it anymore because I have a massive credit line, so like the percentage doesn't matter anymore. But like if you have $1,000 credit line or a $500 credit line, you go and buy a $20 like dinner. Pay it off like as soon as like the transaction goes through. Go on your phone and just like transfer $20 from a bank account and pay off.
So it never hits your statement.
Yes,
it doesn't close on the
because
statement.
what's reported to your credit bureau is the statement
close.
So if your statement close balance is $900 out of 1,000, your 90% utilization, that's probably going to drop your score like 20 points.
The best thing that ever happened to me credit wise was I hate to give them a shout out, and I don't know if you use them or not, but Credit Karma.
Yeah.
That app I use religiously, and I have like an 825 credit score, and I had a horrible credit score for so long, but because of the stuff that certain apps taught me about utilization, payment timing, like
Credit
all
Karma
that
is
stuff,
great.
it did great for my
Yeah,
score.
yeah, no, Credit Karma is great.
Awesome.
I think everyone should get it. You know, everybody like looks at their phone the first thing they wake up, like most people, and they go to a certain thing. If you're like a Twitch streamer, I don't know, you might go to Twitch. If you like check your stocks every morning. So like what I did consistently every single day for a year was just the first thing I checked was Credit Karma.
Yeah.
Like I would just open and just check my credit report, and that's how I just built it up every single. It was like the priority in my head. And then
I think they've just done like the best job of like appifying like the credit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It feels almost like a Facebook or like an Instagram.
Yeah.
You open, it's really pretty and just like has
and it makes it a lot less intimidating. Like
Facts.
it's green, and so like you're looking at it like, oh, it's like it's welcoming and trusting. And,
Mm-hmm.
You you obviously you strike me as an intelligent kid, and you went to Stanford, yeah?
for 3 semesters.
So 1.5 years.
Yeah. Well, I went summer and 2 other semesters. Yeah.
What do you think it is about you that makes you attracted to credit and making this your line of work? Are you a numbers guy?
I'd say I'm attracted to credit because it's one of the things that the school system failed to teach us. And so, like, I spent a lot of time, when I was like 12 years old, I watched this like Simon Sinek talk called Starting With Why. And like
my favorite.
it's
my
probably the
favorite
best
TED Talk of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Literally.
it was the first like motivational thing I saw, and I was like, okay, so I spent like a long time trying to figure out my why, but I didn't like make it my sole focus. I just kind of did what I enjoyed. So for credit, it was just like, oh, I get to travel for free and everything, and then I slowly found that like, look, credit's one of the things we didn't teach people in school, and I started finding all these other things. Like I go to like the doctor's office, and I'll ask the doctor like, how much of what you do today did you learn in school? And they're like 2%.
Wow.
And like I'll ask the car mechanic, they're like, how much did you learn in school? Like 0. Like
That's a good question
and-
to ask people.
Yeah,
I think
I have yet to meet one person that said, oh, everything I do in my job I learned in school.
yeah.
No,
Or like confidently say like above 50%.
such a small percent.
I guess
And
it would be like the trade community, right? Like if you went to school to learn how to TIG weld something, like you probably learned it at your trade school, right?
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the way, we have a shortage of trade workers.
Definitely,
still, right?
I think a lot of that. Did you guys ever have like a vocational school that was attached to your school? It was like separate.
Yeah. Well, we had auto class. We had like classes for it that you could go
Yeah.
to, and I actually went to audio video. That was my choice. Which
Yeah, that panned out.
I mean, I learned how to edit on VCR, which has been great for me.
You serious?
Yeah, I had like a little button you could turn. It would speed it up, and it would go. I
didn't
never
even-
use it. It's dysfunctional.
You never
Sorry,
know.
sorry.
Never know when you're gonna
Go
have to bust it out.
one of the other things I saw was like, people that get pulled over every single day, right? And we are never taught how to communicate with cops in school ever. Like people are getting shot by like bad cops, and like bad people are getting shot by good cops, and the good cops, like both sides have wrongs, right? And we're never taught like, oh, this is the standard on how to conduct a traffic stop. Yet everybody has learned stop, drop, and roll when you catch on fire.
You catch on fire.
So you guys probably know someone that's gotten pulled over, right?
Yeah.
I literally, in the back of my head, I can't think of a single person that's caught on fire in the past week, in the past month, in the past year. So I think it's crazy.
Great. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic point.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic point. Dude.
School just does a horrible job of like what you talk about with the why. School does a horrible job of linking the why. Like I've been watching YouTube videos about sacred geometry and things that I hated during school but I'm now linking it to like things I'm actually passionate about learning. Like if you link mathematics, reading, writing, science, like all this stuff is important to be a well-rounded individual. But if you're going to these classes to take a test, that's not going to be how you actually retain that knowledge.
Right.
You know, it's transactional.
And we teach kids like to hate school. Like we don't directly teach them to hate school, but like kids dread going to school. And as a result, it like transfers to their adult life because then it's like, oh, I hate learning. When I think we should be encouraging and making learning fun. Like, I don't care if you want to learn how to play Fortnite better, if you want to learn how to play the piano, if you want to learn how to play guitar. Learning is learning, and I think we should encourage it. And like, if I were a teacher, like if I was like it was the first day of school, I would literally create 100 like questions from 100 different subjects, and I would just give it to them as a pop quiz. And I'd say like, look, you can use your phone, you can use your friend, you can call your dad, whatever. Because we live in a world where we have resources and we're not teaching our kids to access their resources.
True.
Instead, we're making them memorize the atomic number for hydrogen instead of like teaching them like real.
Number one, baby.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Number one. And you know how much I'm going to do with that this week?
Absolutely.
Nothing.
right.
Nothing.
Like we learn all this stuff. But like I took like a paramedics course too, like because I ski, I was a ski patroller. So the stuff I learned from there I think is pretty useful that anyone should know. Like, what if your buddy slips and falls and like, you know, very obviously his leg's broken. Do you lift him up to the couch so he can like sit down on the couch? Do you leave him there? Do you call the like ambulance right away?
Yep.
Like simple stuff like that. That's actual life skills. How to file taxes, like, you know, how to get health insurance. I made my first $1 million before I got health insurance.
Wow.
So I think that's pretty like messed up.
Yeah.
You're making a lot of good points. I'm thoroughly enjoying this episode, and you're aligned with him in many ways too, because he's big on education reform. And is that how you guys met?
Yeah.
I think that's how we connected. Like,
Yeah, you were posting a bunch of stuff about education reform and stuff you're talking about now, and I reached out.
So Steven, how can you do maybe a slight shift from maybe this lifestyle and the credit to your goal, which sounds like is education reform?
I think this gives me access because like people see this and they're like, oh, this guy has hundreds of thousands of followers and you know he's verified, he does credit.
He got butts on cars.
But at the end of the day, like if I didn't have this, we wouldn't even be here talking, right? And so like the whole,
It worked.
right? Like
Yeah,
I don't even. I was talking to a lot of people. Like I've worked with like designer. I'm working with like Lil Pumps on his credit too, and so it's like I wouldn't be able to access those people had I not like gone this route because I would probably have like 417 followers posting daily credit tips, right? Because no one wakes up and is like, I want to go on Instagram to learn about credit.
Yeah.
Right.
So is that what you're doing with designer, our friend designer?
Yes.
Teaching him how to fly a jet?
No, that's Rush Hour 5. It's
I got you. Got you. So okay, so you as is even indicated by this timeline of your Instagram here, you acquired the success, you learn how to navigate the credit world, and then I'm seeing the lifestyle. It's very clear the lifestyle is getting crazier and crazier, specifically with butts. Now I want to ask you because like I hate to do it like this, like you've entered a household where like we know butts, dude.
yeah.
Like, pretty well.
Yeah,
Like,
you guys are butt savvy.
We know butts. Some of these butts are mediocre at best. So I'll just say it, bro. They're marginal
We're just
butts.
diving in like that.
Well,
The
when
one
you,
on the plane right there is dope.
I'm not gonna lie, this one's pretty dope.
That one's well crafted.
pretty
She's
good
definitely done a swatter too. That actually could.
But are you just like that one comment we saw? Are people ever coming at you for objectifying women and their butts?
I don't really read my comments, so I'm not sure. Like I don't.
You're not. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
strategy.
I mean, I'll probably answer that question. I'm sure. Yes.
The answer is yes, but like this one, like I mean, you're barely in this picture, Steven. This is a butt, a giant butt.
I also live in Vegas, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how do you?
This looks like this looks like Vegas.
That's just a
situation,
normal. That's a
dude.
Tuesday right there.
I
when,
kn-
when did he post this?
I need to know how you get these girls to pose for these pictures like this. Is it just like, hey, put your butts in this railing and I'll grab your butts?
Kind of, yeah. Like, honestly, like I did this even before I had Instagram. Like I was doing this in college. Like,
Are you a wild man?
I-
You did this at Stanford? I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
That kind of stuff just doesn't happen at college, all right?
No, but what do you say? Like, how do you convince? Do you
I was
just
like, hey, let's get an Instagram shot. Like
and that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And they all just stick their asses on the railing.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh shit, free brand deals.
Vegas probably definitely has something to do with this. So
Yeah, it definitely does.
what kind of cars are you driving now?
Honestly, I just have a Lambo in the garage and I have 2 Teslas. That's it. Like I used to.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I
That's
used
what-
to
that's
like
what
be
all-
Sounds
like,
like Jake Paul's garage. It's the same exact setup.
Honestly, yeah.
Tesla's like the best car. Like it's auto driving. Like I used to care about like, oh, I want a Rolls, I want a Ferrari. Like I've driven all the cars, and at the end of the day, like I just want to have like a Lambo in the garage that I don't drive. Like I drive it maybe once a month, and then I just drive a Tesla Model 3 as like my daily driver.
Gotcha. And where exactly are you going? Meetings?
Food.
Food? That's
Eating.
it. Is that your house?
Yeah.
How much was this house?
I pay $20K a month, and so I don't own it for the record.
It's a lease?
I lease it in order to write off. I lease under my company. I
Okay.
write off about 95% of it.
Oh my god.
You got a pretty good life.
Love
man.
it.
You got a pretty good life.
That's a cool theme that we've had, like from Grant, from a lot of the financial guys. Like not buying a house is such a better investment. You can rent it off.
Wow,
It sucks that you didn't take
fucked
on that advice, bro.
I bought 2 now at this point.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
Straight cash.
I mean, it's great, but it's also maybe not.
Why don't you buy or like under a different company and lease it to yourself?
I think once you get to like a certain level of like,
He just shorted out, bro. That was way too much. I gotta warn you. You can't say stuff like that on the podcast. You gotta calm down over there.
I think once you get to a
He's
certain
go- he's
level of
done.
like wealth and
He's
like
done.
accumulation, that like, I think like you probably took a lot of your risks because you didn't have anything to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like you were just a kid that just like you're like, I think I'm gonna get 30 million in credit. Like he does that shit. Like, and he's like, I think I'm gonna buy a house, but also lease one, rent it to myself, write it off for a jet that I'm renting. Like, I think his like the IRS will just be like, yo, guess what, Logan Paul, controversial YouTuber, you're going to Guantanamo Bay. You know what I'm saying? You're fucked. You fucked yourself, bro. Like
You like
you can
water?
do it. You can do it because you don't have like a massive identity. It's like he's like he does some like weird shit like that. Like the rat team's gonna come and eat his soul. You know what I'm saying?
I think having nothing to lose.
What? Can you hold that hit the sign with the camera, please?
No, please don't.
I want to hear more why.
Well, now you've distracted. Now he can't even respond.
What kind of question is that?
No, it's a good. It's a good one.
That's a good note.
Why does he want him to do that? Why would he lease and then?
Oh,
lease it
sorry,
to
my
another company?
fault.
Yeah, why would I do that? Which I think, by the way, my business team mentioned. I think you're saying to write it off, yeah?
Yeah, to write off because if you buy a house for the sole purpose of a business expense, like you form a new company and you buy that house, that's sole like purchase of that house is for a business expense because you're renting that house. And then you're renting it to your other company.
Well, in many ways, it quite literally is like a business expense. Like
Absolutely.
it's a content playground.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so like as a result, you're writing off the monthly lease payments to the other company. That other company has a mortgage or whatever, like, you know, you put 20% down. And
Now that he's in this deep, can he sell it to his company and then lease it to the company
I'm
that
not-
sold it to him?
I'm not sure. Like I'm not an accountant, so like you know, I've
Sounds
I
like-
like to
sounds
surround
shady. myself
myself with smart financial people, but yeah, I think that's something worth exploring. It might save you some, especially in California. You got some California tax here,
and
and that's why I'm in Nevada. That's why I'm in Vegas. It's close. It's a 45-minute flight here, and
I might move to Puerto Rico for
yeah,
tax
0%.
benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I mean, who knows, bro?
Let's do it.
At this point, you're teaching people as well how to get rich off of credit cards.
Yes.
And I looked at your courses here. You open up the page. What the school system failed to teach you. So there's the credit basics for $197.
Yep.
Credit 101 for $497, and credit mastery for $2,495. Are people purchasing these courses?
Yep.
Is this a scam?
Nope.
This is legit.
So I actually gave away the 197. I gotta find the code. I gave a code out to everybody because like originally I decided to sell it for 197, but my ultimate goal isn't to like make money. I don't care about making money off of credit. I have investments that I use my credit to make money. So like the 197 I just gave out completely for free, which the 197, you go on there, you learn the 6 factors of credit, you learn how to get your first 5 credit cards, and I'll find it. You can like plug it in, like there's a code and you just go in there and get a free course.
I definitely won't do that, but I'm sure someone will.
Too many
Yeah.
steps in there.
Where do you find?
I can't read, dude. Like I'm capped on a lot of my things I can do.
Yep.
Where
Does
do
he
you
have
find
pictures?
where do you find your investments? Like so, like assuming I semi understand your capability of spending based on credit lines. Like how do you find your investments that you're actually spending on?
So when I travel and I like, you know, I'm gonna meet like wealthier, higher like caliber people in the lobby of a Ritz-Carlton just
Define
sitting
a
there.
high caliber person.
Like someone that's if someone's staying at
Go ahead.
if someone's staying at the Ritz-Carlton, right? Like you're probably the people staying there probably did something to be able to stay there, right? And they probably some of them are there for work, some of them work a 9 to 5, but some of them are entrepreneurs like me. And so like sitting there talking, networking, you just stumble upon deals. I don't go out with like the sole like purpose of like, oh, I'm going out to find a deal. It just kind of happens, right? You talk to 100 people, maybe one of those people will have something, and you just have friendly conversations.
So networking is big for you.
Networking is big, not so much anymore because like now I just leverage the existing network that I've built, and they just introduce me to people like, hey, Steven, meet Logan, meet, and then so it's. But I think initially in the beginning, yes, it's really important.
Nice.
Did Ty Lopez help you structure this?
No, I think like. I've worked with Ty, but this was just entirely my team.
Got you. And who is your team?
So I have a house manager, I have a business manager, and then that's it. I have 2 people on my team.
It's very impressive. Steve.
I run lean.
Yeah, indeed. I'm just saying, can everyone do this? Like, what happens if everyone starts playing this game?
Market corrects itself. So like if everyone starts getting, $30 million in credit, the banks are going to be like, whoa, something's wrong. And because we have people with $30 million of credit not paying us back our interest, and they're maxing out all their lines of credit. So the market's going to correct itself. I would say in the next 3 to 4 years, credit game's going to be completely different again. I should not be able to get $30 million in credit this easy.
What if you're not able to based off this episode?
What?
What if the Rat Pack is just watching?
I was
this, right?
wondering
By the way,
that.
a lot of people watch this, especially when we discuss a controversial situation like this, and also like, who does that correction hurt? Because like that's another thing I'm concerned about. Like if there's 50, private jet flying butt utilizers that have 30 million in credit each, and they crash the system, does Mr. and Mrs. Winters, old Mr. and Mrs. Winters lose their retirement, and he doesn't have his recliner anymore because you were just buying all these jets and all these butts.
I think the people running the banks are going to catch that like long before, like
they did with the mortgage crisis.
Yeah. Like JP Morgan, they managed.
Wrong. It's not. Yeah. Everyone lost everything, including GP. Shout out GP.
Shout out GP, man.
But like, it's kind of a risk if you think about it. Like, your manipulation of the system may just end up fucking somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Which
And listen, I hate
if
being
you were
this
given
guy,
$100
dude.
million and someone in LA loses a limb because of
Oh
it,
my
would
God,
you take
we're
it?
back.
What was that?
If someone offers you a contract right now
no.
for $100 million, they say, Steven, very simple. Here's a pen. Sign this. Caveat: someone here in LA will lose a limb. Do you sign that paper?
Can I buy that person their limb back?
In our last analogy, yes. But
Yeah,
in this
sure.
one, in this no. In this one,
He's being
no.
firm.
So they
You
just
don't even. You
do
don't
I
know-
get to choose this person?
Nope. You don't even know who it is, and you'll never find out. But trust.
There's a movie
A limb has
about
been
this.
lost.
There's a movie called The Box.
Is
It
there
shows up at your door. If you push the button, you get a shit ton of money, and somebody else dies actually in that one.
I don't think I would do something like that for another 100 million. Like I'm comfortable right now. I don't think another 5-10 million is going to make my life very different than how it
What
is
about the
now.
100 he offered you though? That's it. Come on, that's a chunky. That's a chunky nut. That's a chunky nut, dude.
I think it depends where like I'm at in my life. I don't think I wouldn't take it now.
Oh, I was gonna say
If you asked me like 2 years ago, I probably would.
100 million.
Most
some guy,
like 18.
Also, we're on a podcast. If you're just by yourself and a box shows up and you look around,
Yeah, trust. If people weren't watching, you'd sign that fucking paper.
He was already starting to think. He's like, how do I get this dude a peg leg or pirates in style?
you
Like,
thought about it too long, bro.
He said to buy him a new limb, which
That's
begs,
smart.
Which
I mean,
begs
hey.
another question. I hate to go down this road, but I was thinking about the fact that when you catch like a gecko and his tail, he'll lose his tail and then he can grow it back.
Yeah.
Same with like a squid or an octopus. Why can't we do that as humans?
I think it's the whole issue of we're not reptiles. That whole thing.
yeah, you bringing this up for a reason. You know, there's an answer to it. We're watching that show.
Regenerative limbs is what I'm looking
That's
for.
not the show's name. It's called Unnatural Selection. It's on Netflix.
I'm just letting you know. I'm looking for regenerative limbs.
They're starting to work with implanting reptilian DNA into our DNA sequence.
There we go.
Testing it so that if someone does lose a leg on a $100 million trade-off, they're able to actually regenerate the limb. They've got it done with limbs in chicken embryos. They've got it done with human brain right now. They're growing human brain tissue in a pea pod.
Okay,
No, that's not the word. That's not the word.
Would you take the $100 million?
Can I fix that petri dish?
Would you
Pea
take
pod
the
is a-
$100 million if the person had regenerative limb building, but they grew back a leg in their arm?
Where's this box?
I don't know.
Let me put.
I would.
I might
They
do
would
that.
have
You
to
can
make
make
a,
back.
You
Yeah.
can make a good living off that kind of look.
Oh my
That's an
God.
interesting
Yeah.
aesthetic.
Do you know how much you
You
can
could
make
kick
off
a
foot
soccer ball.
fetish? And imagine if you had 3 sets of toes and some weirdo in Idaho, not Idaho. Okay,
Nebraska.
it's always at Nebraska. Could just watch your 3-foot foot fetish videos, dude. It's a lot of money there.
Steven, how often you fucking, man?
Smooth transition.
Smooth transition.
Well, I just gotta know, bro, because just like anyone with all these women, you gotta be pretty healthy, sexually active wise.
My doctor says so.
There you go.
Ooh.
That's the answer we were looking for.
There we
Steven.
go. The doc says, "Hey, man, good job with the fucking."
I had to figure out how to get health insurance first. But
That's your
You
doctor's
still don't have
answer.
health insurance?
I do.
All right.
Okay, that's.
I was gonna say you're about to get penalized by Obamacare.
Nice.
was great.
Evan had to get a finger shoved up his butt
Yep.
yesterday.
Yep.
Really.
Yeah, for a I think it was actually recreational.
Recreational.
Recreational
butt use.
butt shove. Not. I think it was rectal. A rectal
Yeah.
exam, not recreational.
That's legal now. I hear. Oh no.
Woo!
He's
Nah, he's been
said-
pretty
bro,
PTSD.
He's made
about
it very clear that all of us need to stay away from his butt.
Yeah,
Really?
which has been tough for us. Something we're
It
used
is.
to.
It is. He choked me out today. It was weird for no reason.
I like aggressive Evan. He's fun.
Is that a? In that bottom picture on the bottom left, is there a no, don't zoom in for is that a what is that behind them? Are those little aliens people
It's a
looking the
it's
other
a-
way?
It's a floaty crown for my pool. So like it's like a big floaty crown, and you sit in the crown. And
Yo, some of these girls are actually pretty hot, dude. I'm not gonna lie. That one on the left, you have her in quite a few pictures. Is that your main?
Do you have a main chick? Like
that
how-
one? No, the one, directly one. That one, yes.
This is your main chick?
Yes.
Wait, which
You
one?
really got a main chick?
Yeah.
The one that's grabbing her boobs?
Yes.
Well, girls,
pretty dope.
girls grab.
Can you see what's popping with the one on the left and the right? And maybe just
I'm worried about the one on the right, to be honest.
she's taking a nap.
She fell asleep for your picture. Do you plan on raising a family in Las Vegas?
I'm 22.
Because you seem like a very nice, smart, collected kid. I don't like you don't strike me as a Vegas. I've met Vegas people. You know,
I think I would want to go back to Ohio. Like I think
that's
like,
right.
Yes. Or, I just think it's like I don't know, Midwest people are just nice, and like I think it's very humbling. I don't want my kids to just think that money just like grows on trees, which I don't think any parents do. But like,
But given the lifestyle you live, don't you think it may be hard for them to think otherwise?
yes, and I think that's why I don't have kids right now. So
What if
when I figure out how to raise them, I'll
What if they grow up and they think that credit card statements grow on trees because it's not? He doesn't utilize cash. Would that be okay?
I like.
You don't have to answer.
I like what you said though. Is that like the credit card game is going to be different in 5 years? Like you're in a ever evolving space, and I think as long as you stay up to date,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think every space is evolving. I
Facts.
mean, like social media, like a year, 6 months ago was different. Like there's different trends 6 months ago than there was here. And like if you disappear off social media for 6 months, you're going to be behind. And in fact, I think the only industry that hasn't evolved would be education. Just
oh my
bring it
god,
back
you're
there.
right.
Like
You're
think
so
about it.
right.
Like 50, 100 years ago, we had like how was communication done? We had like telegraphs, like beep 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 beep, and then we had like rotary phones, and then satellite phones, and like computers and laptops, iPhones. Transportation, we had trains, like horse and buggy, all this stuff, and now we have electric cars.
Yep.
Like education, 500 years ago, you could go like Europe. It was like a teacher standing in front.
Yep.
2 + 2 = 2. End of the day,
Well,
equals
I just
4.
want to let you know 2 + 2 doesn't equal 2.
Well, no, it depends on where
It does if you're in Eastern Europe.
If you're in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
It's just that
they
one.
forgot it. They haven't gotten to that point yet.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I
And you know,
I got high hopes for you in that space.
that's my why. Like at the end of the like when I die, when I'm like 80 years old, that's all I want. Like I don't care about making like enormous amounts of money. I just want like people to remember like, oh, Steven, he contributed like 1 or 2%. I don't care about like contributing 100% to changing the education system. I just want to be a part of that change. Because like I travel to other countries a lot. I go to like Japan, I'll go to like Europe, I'll go all over, and like it's fun. Like, you know, if you're in Bali, like you spend a week there, but at the end of the day, like when you get back to LAX and you go through customs, you're like, this is home. And like, so I don't want my home country. Like I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud to be an American. I don't want to go back to my home country. I don't want to see our country like keep declining in education. And like people are like 90% of the issues in like society, I feel like could be fixed with education. Guys don't know how to talk to girls. Creepy guys sending dick pics and everything, like unsolicited dick pics.
Yeah.
Like,
All because of just freaking 3rd grade math, dude. So many dicks.
No, but I think you're right. Like it's real life. It's real life, and they don't teach you that in school.
they don't teach you like that shit happens, right? Like I think everyone wants to like be right now, like they think it's a bubble, right? Like there's a little protective bubble, like, oh, if I go on social media, people can't cyberbully me. We'll try and like stop this Russian dude in Russia that's like calling you, saying you have a small penis. Like, like what are you gonna do? There's nothing you can do about that. So bullying exists, mean people exist on the internet, but at the end of the day, like we gotta teach people how to deal with that. We don't teach kids how to deal with stress. You might get a job, you might lose your job. You might get a girlfriend, she might cheat on you, right? Your dad might die. Like shit happens in life, and we don't even teach them how to like deal with like ups and downs in life. We just kind of like, oh, like you're stressful, cool, that's like normal.
I wonder how much of that is teachable, and how much of it you just chalk it up to the game and learning how to live life. Like to a certain degree, if you are able to look at it from like a macro perspective, I'm sure like things you just described would be like a class called struggle and hardship, maybe. But
yes, the issue that we currently face is the majority of those lessons can be learned in the real world and should be learned in the real world, but we're being sheltered from the real world, like you're saying. So we're getting to the point where we're leaving college at the age of what, 22-ish, somewhere in there, and you're in debt, so you can't make those mistakes. So you have to, strip away all the constructs of school and let people experience the real world younger, like we used to.
I like what you said, and I think why I'm like attracted to your angle on this is that you provided like some solutions, and I'm sure you have a lot of them. But it seems like you have, instead of just like pointing at the problem and saying that it's a problem, it seems like you have some viable solutions for like fixing the education system or how to do it different. I really like what you said about giving kids an hour to answer a 100-question test, but like use all the resources you can. Because you're right, like in school, I remember like taking math tests, the ones where you weren't allowed to use your calculator, and I was always so confused because I knew in real life I'd pretty much always have access to a calculator unless I got like Tom Hanks in Castaway. Yeah. And I just have to draw.
In which case,
the rocks.
why do you need to do mathematics?
Well, what if you need to figure? Yeah, I don't fucking.
Like, are you looking for a recipe for like how to turn coconuts into like, I don't even know.
Yeah, you don't have the application. You don't have the connection to why, like what it unlocks in the real world.
Yeah, you said, you're
just being tested.
Yeah.
You're that's the thing though that I love about what we're creating here with this podcast is whoever's watching this just learned more about credit than any of us did.
No
if
kidding.
we watched this podcast when we were in school, dude, we'd be on a whole different life trajectory. So hundreds of thousands of people that are young are now able to actually, you can take a different step and you can start learning stuff that we didn't get to learn.
Yeah.
That's huge. Podcasts and YouTube, and I call it YouTube University. Like you can learn everything you want on YouTube, on Google, and it's right there. It's about choosing, do I learn or do I waste my time? Like you get to pick.
I wonder if by the time I'm an adult and I have kids, I wonder if I'll have like developed a curriculum for them that'll teach them in a way that is super revolutionary that the school like will probably not yet provide. What I like about school and the school setting is the atmosphere and the environment, and in many ways it does teach you how to like interact with kids. Like
Yeah. Once you see, this is my thing. And going to Finland, for example, and going to China, and experiencing their progressive sides to education, you see that you can still get that same experience of community in a different way. So you don't have to send your kids into a classroom in which the teacher's at the front of the room telling everybody what to do. Like there's so much science now, and that's what I'm excited about with my documentary, is just to educate people what true education is meant to be, meant to look like. Everybody, if you say, what does it mean to, what is education? An image is going to come to your mind. And for a lot of people, it's like I'm I'm at a desk and I'm learning from somebody. But in progressive education, what's happening right now in the world, and this isn't sexy, this is boring to talk about, but it is happening, which is really exciting, is we're flipping the classroom upside down, and we're starting to ask kids, like, what do you want to learn? How can I help you? How can I help facilitate that? That's real education. And so anytime you're in a school building or setting where someone's telling you what to do, instantly you're not in the right place. And that's going to take a while for us to like really change that. It's a bitch to change that, dude.
Don't you think it's crazy that the next LeBron James, the next Lil Pump, the next Justin Bieber is sitting somewhere in a 3rd grade classroom learning like useless math when they could be honing their true talents or their true talent and also their hobby? Like we would have so many more super.
2 out of those 3, I'm on board with you on. 2 out of 3, I'm on board with you on.
talk about. Do you disagree with Lil Pump?
I'm on the fence on the pump thing. I listen. I'm down to I can't even say do any of the things he talks about in his songs because as an addict in recovery, I mean I shouldn't be sipping lean, popping perks or any of that shit. And by the way, I don't think 12-year-olds should be doing that shit either. Maybe wait till you're 14. But like honestly, like what I mean, like maybe he should have stayed in school. He may be the one that bucks the trend. Like he may be the one that bucks the trend. Like, yo, wait, what if he got a degree and he got out and he used that same flow and shit to just be a little bit more elevated? I don't know.
People don't want that, bro.
Yeah,
they want
Facts.
they want a dumbass.
They want to sip lean, turn the fuck up.
Yeah.
Trust me. Hey, that's part of the reason I made it, bro. People want to fucking
Don't
dumbass,
say that.
bro.
People will believe you if you say that. It's not true. You're not dumb.
You're not dumb.
But people do want some dumb shit in their lives. Dumb shit is popping right now. Like you have to admit.
Yeah.
Like being stupid and shit. As long as you,
I mean, look
as
how
long as
dumb
you have,
we are, bro. #1 podcast in the world.
Facts.
as long as you have a plane, some butts, bro. Like it doesn't matter if you think 2 + 2 is 2. You know what I'm saying? Like as long as you have some planes, some butts. You're chilling, bro.
You're chilling.
Like,
You really are
and like
chilling.
honestly, in this day, and that's why school isn't working at all, dude. Because like they don't teach you that shit, bro. They're too busy and like, yeah, you don't use the Pythagorean theory. But if you want to win in Jeopardy, which I do, school actually comes in handy pretty well.
Know what I would do if I was the Secretary of Education? So when you're in 2037, when Logan
Betsy
Paul
DeVos
is president, I'm going to be your Secretary of Education.
Ooh.
Deal. I would make standard tests completely like wipe those out.
Obsolete.
Gone. Because if you take those away and if you eliminate the need for high schools to prepare kids for a test, then you allow education to happen. Because there's a lot of really good teachers and there's plenty of resources for teachers to change their classroom. All that you have to do is say, hey, no more standardized tests. We're not going to do that anymore. And if you did that, which other countries have done that, if you do that, the whole system changes. Because right now, when you go to a high school, the majority of what they're advertising on the walls, when you look it up, they're like #1 in math in the district or number. It's all about math. It's all about reading and writing and science. There's nothing about, oh yeah, Logan Paul went to Westlake. You know, do they have a poster of you up in the high school?
Probably not.
Like
or
they don't
it
have,
says like don't be like this kid.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
they don't
saying?
put
They have that one.
That might be right. That was a bad example. Okay. But they need to focus on like showing what a successful human is.
But my
instead
question
of like
is-
do good at testing.
But my question is, those countries that have gotten rid of standardized tests, what did they replace them with? Because surely there needs to be
Yeah.
some sort of
So they don't-
success metric.
They don't fully get rid of the testing necessarily, but they get rid of it being a metric that gets you into university or something.
So what would they replace that with? Is what I'm saying.
It's like in Finland, for example, it's more about like while you're young, they identify what you want to do and they help you pursue it.
That's cool.
So it's all individualized.
That I like.
Yeah, it's
because
all
all the
individualized
conversation we've
learning.
had so far today has been tricky because my thought of like the kid that's like in like 3rd grade, you're like, yo, man, like you could base your curriculum around whatever you want to be, man, and he's just gonna be like, I want to be a turtle, you know what I'm saying? Like, or like, I want to be a boombox, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be those fucking things. So we can't create a curriculum. But I like it. What you just said is great. Like, try to help kids find out what they want to do. Because to be honest with you, I still don't know what I want to do. And by the way, I still do want to be a turtle. I'm still coming to grips with the fact that I can't do that shit.
You can actually, honestly.
It sucks.
Virtual reality.
No,
I mean, dude,
DNA resequencing.
Oh,
Like, yo, I
exactly.
may come back to the podcast
That's the thing,
next week. I
we're
might have a shell. My head might pop out.
We're getting to a time where you got to be careful what you tell kids they can't do. Like if you're like, I want to be a turtle, and I'm like, wait, you can't. Actually, no, you could. Bro.
can be.
You could fucking
Like
be a
in-
turtle.
like,
dog.
yo, honestly,
Like, be it.
That scene from
Master
Step
of
Brothers, from Step Brothers, where he's like, my whole life, he's like, I grew up, I wanted to be a T-Rex, right? and then my dad said to me, cut that shit out. You're 17. Get a fucking job, dude. Now you can be. I bet you they can bring back extinct DNA from T-Rexes. And by the way, I'm sure the internet will fucking love this shit. They could turn Logan into a raptor.
Yeah,
But
but
he could just run around short arms, can't do any push-ups, which isn't that
Yeah.
different from right now, to be honest.
in
with you.
order to get the
And just
DNA
run
in
around,
your
dude.
system, in order to get the DNA into your system, they had to put a finger in your butt. Would you do it?
Yeah.
Of course he would.
yeah,
You
bro.
know Evan would do it. You know Evan would be like, please, you don't even need to give me any DNA. I just want the finger in my butt, dude.
What kind of DNA?
Anything you want.
bro.
anything.
Do you want to be say you want to be a chicken? We could put a limb in your chest, a chicken limb.
We know you're nasty at credit. We know you have all the aspects of like being like what you want to be. But have you ever wanted to be cross species? Like, would you want to cross with a different species? Who, by the way, still has credit power.
Yeah.
Honestly, I want to be a turtle.
You,
There we go. See,
bro. What?
Well,
Can
here's
I-
what's
can I-
thing,
First of all, I was kidding about mine.
Yeah.
Is that a real answer?
How cool would it be to just like you're anywhere and you just like go home? You just like go into your shell. and you're just, like-
Wow,
That's
I
a
never
really
thought about it
dope
that way.
answer.
when I was a
bro.
kid, turtle was my favorite animal, and my favorite car was an RV. I was like, how cool would it be? Like I'm just driving.
Those are still
and
both really
I could
dope.
just
Yeah.
go into my house.
You're essentially
It's
built to be
clutch.
a turtle. My fear with turtles
Yeah,
is
100%.
if you get somehow flipped on your back, you're fucked.
Yeah,
Especially
true.
if you're my turtle pancake. He has no roll over ability. There's nothing there.
But you can start watching Netflix. Like if you're caught in a
That is-
pickle, you're
that's
just like,
true.
yeah, I'm
No,
just
that's the
gonna go
other
home.
thing. That's the thing. The home, let's be honest, is not that spacious, dude.
You
It's
don't
just
know that.
dark.
Have you ever been inside a turtle's
Ah,
home?
He's
nah,
got a good
you're
point.
right.
He
You're
does
right.
have a good point, and he always has good points.
It's
Yeah.
well, Spencer. Did you? Did you? If you, I have to follow this question up with: if you could combine any two animals and take it into battle, what would it be?
Wow.
Combined to it because we did
Combine two. Can I say mine while you think?
Yeah.
You know, my favorite animal is the mantis shrimp.
The one, yeah, and then mine was a giant bunny, wasn't it?
Yes, yours was a giant bunny.
Can
I'd
I
say,
take that back?
No,
Am I
nope.
stuck with it?
I'd say I'd combine the mantis shrimp and an elephant. I'd make the mantis shrimp as big as an elephant.
So when he throws his hands, it's giant. Oh, like
Death, dude. Death in many numbers.
Can you say like a T-Rex?
T-Rex is dead, dude.
But it's-
no, he's coming
it's not
back.
animal.
we
He's
don't
making
know.
a comeback, dude. Him and Lil Pump are about to do a collab.
Do you have an answer?
Can I say T-Rex?
Yeah, I mean, I
Like a
guess.
T-Rex turtle?
Oh
Like
my
a
god,
giant
Oh my
T-Rex
God,
turtle?
That's incredible.
Does the-
That's really good.
Does the turtle have a T-Rex head or does the T-Rex have a shell? And
The
it can-
T-Rex have a giant shell.
That's sick.
That's dope. Because you
that's
know
lit.
that one of the biggest faults of the T-Rex was its inability to stop like arrow fire. You know what I'm saying? Like you used to run into that issue constantly, dude. Because it has no protective defenses like the Abrams tank or the German Panzer.
All right, guys.
Wait, you didn't get Spencer's answer?
Well, because I was really only asking Steven.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's all right.
shit.
We'll save mine for the next show.
What's
That's
the best credit card? Last
no.
question.
Hold up. Tell us on the audio only version. what
That's
you're
a
about to
good
do.
one. If you're watching this still, you just blew my mind to imagine you're still fucking watching this. Pay attention to the audio only.
It's gonna be audio only. It's exclusive on Spotify and iTunes. It's called Impaulsive. So Steven, thanks for joining us, bro.
Thank you, man.
Of course. Follow him on Instagram at credit. And that's it. Why did you write Roku on a sign?
Live.
What's
Olsen is live on Roku.
Or Impulsive live on Roku, the app.
Really?
Wow.
Oh.
So now that we know that, you know that. Thanks for listening to this episode of Impulsive. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. Okay.
Goodbye. There's a lot of battling going on at the top. It's a plastic on plastic war. Some are made of titanium. All have numbers. Which one is the best card? Some would say that it's the American Express Platinum. Take the black card out of it. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Let's fucking get serious. The Platinum card is one, and then the other one is the Chase Sapphire Reserved. Now, I've seen these two battle it out like turtle dinosaurs for a long time now. Which one is the better
Between